All right, well, here we go. The pump is running and the water is going through. And as you can see, interestingly enough, when it's half filled, you can see the water actually bursting from the middle pipe in there. And what basically the design is that the pump is pushing from underneath into this little chamber, and then that's pressing out. So let's summarize a little bit, and let's talk about the process of getting it to this point. It's basically done, ready to go. Obviously, I have it running for about 24 hours now, just to get all the air bubbles out and bleed the system. But basically, let's just look back and have a bit of a talk about what I would do differently. Now, a few things I would like to do differently, and potentially it's more of a guessing game sometime. But setting out the graphics card a little bit closer to the glass, or rather the plexiglass there, would actually be I think would look a lot nicer, because it's so far back with these nice tubings. Now it's probably nicer to have it front. But in saying that, if I did have it front, I'd have to get those little fittings that actually make it go straight onto the card rather than a tube in between. So there's a bit of consideration. I actually, when I got sent these, I actually requested them over the internet, over an email, and I suppose I had to get what I can, and I wasn't really able to plan it out at the time. This was almost 6 months ago, so this has been in the works for a long time. One of the other things that I really realized is the less corners you have, the better, the stronger the whole thing is. Those metal corners are actually very heavy, and so what I would suggest to you guys is that if you are building it, make sure your runs are as short as possible. Obviously make them look nice, and if they have to go around a corner, it might actually be better to use heat rather than the actual 90-degree bends, because they do make it heavy, and that piping could bend and could lead to leaks. Other than that, I think it came out quite nice. It looks almost like a bike frame just there. But I think the main takeaway here is that heat, obviously it'll look nice and clean, but I think chrome corners with 90 degrees and these silver fittings just look absolutely amazing. So guys, if you're looking to build obviously a system for yourself, OC is very great to work with. The pump, however, I would not recommend. I would recommend a different pump. But other than that, all the other fittings and the CPU block has been absolutely fantastic.
Conclusion time. Let's talk about how it all went, and well, first of all, I suppose it went a lot better than last time. There was less spills. There was a few issues, obviously putting the liquid inside the pump, look, that is the fault of that pump. But there is another way to getting the liquid in there. There is a third port on the pump that you can potentially run alongside and the back or something, get that as a fill port. But to be honest, why is there a bit on the top that you can take out and obviously fill it there? I mean, you'd hope that that would actually be the place where you fill it in. So at the end of the day, that was a little bit hard. Another couple of things I think is that if I had the choice, I would make those runs a little bit shorter. Not shorter in distance wise, but just how far away from the actual bit it is. So that's always something I've sort of been thinking about in the past couple of days to try and do. Other than that, the sagging is not too bad. As you can see there, it's still running. It's still not falling apart, which is absolutely great. There are no leaks. Well, I did believe that the actual pipes didn't fit in very well. They weren't like super compressed, but obviously it works well enough to not have any leaks, which is really good. So I trust it now to not leak, but I'm really happy with the way it is designed in a bit of a V shape. So the V ends and sort of at the bit where I can let the water down, but also the pump is a little bit higher, and then you've got the actual pump having a shorter run through the graphics card to the CPU and up towards the radiator, which means that the flow is a lot better, it's a lot quicker, it's a lot smoother. And I guess I'm also very happy about the fact that I used demineralized water. I highly suggest it unless it's a show PC, and I suppose back in the day every one of mine were basically show PCs, using it for videos and whatnot all, but now I think I need to tackle that and just go back to demineralized and make sure that everything is always clean and smooth and running really well. I'll be putting a little bit of silver in there to keep the bugs out. Obviously build-up of little microbes and things like that. The silver will really help, but I'm gonna have to put it in a little place where it doesn't damage the pump. But you know, at the end of the day, that pump, interestingly enough, has a little bottom bit inside that stops any big pieces of something from going straight into the pump, which is a huge plus. So we can chuck one of those little silver bits in there and not be scared about it going into the mechanism of the pump. Price-wise, the obvious thing is that a lot of the parts I was able to reuse, but cost-wise, it's gonna be around $800 to get all the GPU water blocks, the CPU water block, and all the corners and parts, because you can't just buy an L-shape with all the fittings. You gotta buy the fitting of both sides and then the L-shaped fitting. So you kind of have to spend a lot. The pipes, they're actually the cheapest, and to be honest, when you're doing straight runs, it doesn't really matter if you use PVC or the other one, acrylic. So I wouldn't worry about it if you're doing straight runs like that. The pump itself is a really good idea to get a decent pump, preferably a D5 that's been noted to be very reliable and the least problematic. And like you'll see in one of my videos, I do take apart the old pump and you can see that it's still solid inside, just needs a good clean out of the muck that was created by the C1000 Thermaltake red liquid. But temperatures have gone down, the flow of water has increased, even though it's only on level 3 of the pump, and also the actual sound of the system is a lot quieter, which I am very happy about, which means when I'm recording, it just doesn't get picked up. There's only 4 fans running in the system anyway, so that's also super quiet. So there's a lot of bonuses of going basically into water cooling, quieter system, much cooler, less heat output. But remember, there's a lot of care that needs to be taken in building this water loop, and in general, maintenance is a little bit harder, especially if you're using colored liquid. Now, I suppose the main thing is that when moving this PC around, I'm gonna have to be a little bit more careful, especially if I'm going to a LAN. Guys, thank you very much for watching this saga. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was a little bit interesting, and let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to answer anything that I know that I can help with. Obviously, if I don't know, I'll suggest to look somewhere else. But guys, subscribe, like, and I'll see you in a whole heap of new videos that are coming up. So stay tuned, and yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting my channel, and I'll catch you later.